Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Today, I decided, or yesterday, or a few days ago, I decided to jump into the Path of Exile Necropolis League and see what's good, what's bad, what's changed. It's been a hot minute since I played the game, so I figured I'd jump into it. And before I could even contemplate and come up with my complaints and rants, part of it, they just started issuing patch notes. So I'm gonna quickly go over those and see. I haven't read them yet, so I'm gonna see, what I think and if it changed what I kind of thought about the league. Because I played before these notes came out or these changes have gone live. So let's see. You'll be allowed to itemize the corpses as they drop. Huge, huge. I think. Well, not huge, but it's annoying right now because corpses drop. The guy complains that your mausoleum's full, and just a pain in the ass. I should have read this before. Yeah. Actually, reading it and now recording, looks like there's some cool changes because one of the mechanics for this is packs of monsters can drop as items, and then you can go to the zone boundary and edit kind of what monsters are going to show up, which was fun. That was probably my favorite part of this league, was messing with what monsters and potentially increasing the drop rates of monsters and seeing, oh, this is a high spawning zombie. I want this to be the one that drops the loot or whatever. And so they're increasing these itemized monsters. They're increasing the drop rates across the board. That's cool. That's definitely an improvement that I would notice while playing. Now reading the part about changing the grave crafting, where you take monsters you have found and they will have, certain effects or whatever, and that you can turn them into items, pretty much. I'm not good at PoE crafting. I don't get it, which is fine, but I can't tell if these changes would make the system more interesting. Some of it seems like they would. One of the things that I would complain about the current system is you would say have 500% more likelihood of caster fire damage on an item, and it wouldn't roll that. Or you'd get a crappy base, or it would just, whatever I thought I was going to get out from the system, it wouldn't spit that out, which is probably my biggest complaint. I wanted a 4-link item with 4 sockets on it, and I got a 3-link, and it's oh, well, how is this better than just killing more monsters and playing the game normally? I don't get it. Well, anyway, so I guess I would have to wait and see for the grave crafting to see if those improvements are improvements. I bet they are, but the PoE crafting is very random and gambly, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna super be into it. I like a more deterministic, even if it cost more resources. I would much prefer something that was less random and more, hey, I want a 5-link, a 6-link, I want a path to get that item. I don't want a bunch of random gobbledygook wasting my time. So those are my thoughts on the new patch notes. Now we'll get into actually what I'm doing with this run, which was, like I said, checking out the league, seeing its mechanics, and then I was, what is this? I started as a witch, because I was like, I'll just do SRS, the Summon Raging Spirits, which is a hybrid between a spell and a minion, and it runs around the map on its own with its own little AI and attacks monsters for you. I quickly got bored with this and switched focus over to I saw a video about RF, which is Righteous Fire, where you light yourself on fire and then deal damage around you to all the monsters. And I was like, yes, this is just like my D&D character I'm running. We'll do this one. This is more intriguing to me. So I give up on the witch pretty quick and switch over to that different build, which is a different character entirely. So I have to go restart. So I've restarted as Marauder. I've gone through the early part of that campaign quite a bit, the part Act 1, and I was using a melee fire skill, Fire Strike or whatever the hell it is, and it was so bad. And then I got Fireball, level 1, just starter crap skill, and it was so much better than, like, a better, or in theory, better melee skill. It's just wild, this disparity between the melee and just a simple little Fireball. This isn't even the good version of Fireball. There's one called Rolling Magma that bounces and does a little AoE for every bounce, and you control how the bounces, how close the bounces are together with your mouse position. It's much better than just stock Fireball, and both are just way, 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 way better than the starting Marauder melee skill. So I'm using those until I can get Righteous Fire unlocked, which I think is level 20. In Act 2 is when we finally get to swap over from using crud skills to using Righteous Fire. And on the screen you can see a level 17 version of the gem, but it at least gives me something to talk about, because I didn't take a picture when I was leveling. So anyway, we can see that it is a spell, it is AoE, and it is fire, so that gives us our clues on how we increase our damage. Spell modifiers, AoE modifiers, and fire modifiers that aren't attack modifiers will increase this spell's damage. So it deals 70% of our max life as fire damage per second to everything around us, deals 70% of your max energy shield as fire damage around us, and then to us, the character, it burns us for 90% of our max life. So it will burn us, the character, for 70% of our 70% of our maximum energy shield as fire damage, and 90% of our max life as fire damage. And it grants us 36% more spell damage, and it's got a radius of 2.2 meters. Cool. I also corrupted it. I don't know what that did. I can't tell. Anyway, so this it's fire damage, so we need to find in the the skill tree, the passive trees, ways to increase our fire resistance. And there's a lot of cheeky ways you can get well above the standard 75% cap. You can get up to 80 or even 90 with specific items that I don't have, but I was able to float around I think 80%, so 5% higher than base, which really reduces the self damage. And then we go around increasing our max life to increase our damage. I guess it should be noted while I'm rambling on about this Righteous Fire skill that my current support gems do not support this skill well. Also, I've only got a 3 socket, which isn't fantastic. I'd like a 4. That will help. At least mentally, it'll help a lot. So I have to wait until... what is that, Act 3? Yeah. I have to wait until I have access to more, like, appropriate gems to support the Righteous Fire skill. So right now I'm mostly supporting my standard Rolling Magma. So here we go, trying out the sweet skill, and you can see we can just stand or walk at the monsters, and they take a pretty decent amount of fire damage per second. This is the whole thing, almost like walking simulator. Just walk around, get the monsters in your aura, and they take fire damage and die. It's nice against jobber monsters, but it struggles a bit on harder elite monsters and or bosses. It's definitely not a bossing build, and eventually I reserve away all my mana so I don't have good offensive other casting spell. Yep, it's choice. So at this point in the campaign, I'm running Vitality and Clarity, which are life and mana regen, respectively. And I finally pick up a movement skill after like 3 or 4 hours of playing. Finally. Lord. Anyway, so the auras, they reserve your mana. That is the gray darkening of my blue mana bar on the right there. That is my max mana being lowered to run a continuous buff. That where if I were playing with other people, they would also get the advantage of having increased life and mana regen. But I don't, not playing with anybody, so just I get these buffs, which help quite a bit to offset at least being lit on fire by my own spell. The mana ends up not being helpful, so eventually I just drop that. And you can already see with some of the packs of monsters that the damage is a bit struggly at times, even against some normal monsters. I mean, they're dying at a pretty good rate, unless it's like a blue pack or whatever, then sometimes you have to stand around a bit more than I like. So here's kind of the Corpse League mechanic in action. We end up finding a haunted monster, we kill it, it drops a corpse, we click collect, the weird creepy guy hops out of a portal, takes the corpse back to the crafting section where it sits there because I don't feel like engaging mentally with that system at the moment. Which, yeah, it's definitely a flaw in my particular opinion when you have a league mechanic that just doesn't feel rewarding and you don't want to engage with it while you're like playing. Like most league mechanics, you see it and you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to do this because it's going to cough up all these rewards. And in this one, it's like, I'll just throw these in a heap and get back to you maybe later. And then you don't. Or you try and do some meme thing and fill up every grave and then get crap out. Which also isn't great. Yeah. Here we go, Act 3, finally get some good support gems that actually work with Righteous Fire. I think we get, we get a bunch more that, add to burning damage. Yeah, a bunch of really helpful stuff that increases the damage quite a bit. And it's actually appropriate for our build instead of being random nonsense. And we've done enough trials where we can finally do the Labyrinth, which is a medium core, I've heard it described, system, where if you die here, regardless of your hardcore or not, you get booted out. I mean, hardcore, if you die, you're dead. But if you're a typical softcore person like me, then it kicks you out and you have to start all over again, which is a little obnoxious. Yeah, so make sure you come in here with cap resists and blah blah blah, enough life, appropriate stuff like that. Anyway, so you go through here, you have to fight a boss 3 times minimum. Sometimes you can find other bosses in side areas. I don't go out of my way to look for any of that. Anyway, so you get to the end of here into this whole labyrinth system, and you get to ascend and pick a prestige, mastery, however you want to think of it, class, which offers you normally very powerful changes to how your build works. They're amazing, generally amazing. And I'm going for Chieftain here, because the guide said so. And I'll include a link to the guide I'm quasi-following in the description. And going Chieftain, it looks like for max, increase your fire resistance, life regeneration, and then giving you an ability to get additional resistances based on how much fire resistance you have, which frees up a bunch of slots on your gear and can make it easier to gear. And here we are fighting the first version of this guy, and every every time he gets a little stronger and the room gets a little worse that you're fighting in. Since the last time I played, they've added in transfigured gems. And I don't have a good grasp on what the hell transfigured gems are. I think they're just different. So I just kind of like, okay, I'll toss a gem into this grinder and see what happens. And I did this every time I went through a lab. I think I did three labs in total. And never got anything other than an improved SRS gem. But I never used it. Or I used it like briefly just to like, what the hell are you? How are you different? And I couldn't visually see or from the description tell how the difference was. I'd need to line both gems up and compare them. And maybe I'll do that. Okay, here's the two gems, Summon Raging Spirit and Summon Raging Spirit of Enormity, side by side, compared. Looks like we've got spell, minion, duration, fire the same. Level doesn't matter. Cost, it looks like the enormous one costs a little more mana. Level, we can skip over required level. That's whatever. Let's see, the base duration is a cat screaming in the background. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, right. Okay, base duration, 5 seconds, the same. Maximum summoned raging spirits, 20 versus 6. Okay, there's a difference. The enormous ones have more life. Okay, they both can't taunt, that's fine. Oh, they're always critical strikes for the enormous ones. Okay. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. And the more life could enable potentially some interesting, they call them popcorn builds, where there are support gems that light your minion on fire, and then there's some other skill trees and stuff at points that you can put in that cause your minions to explode when they get to a certain life point. Interesting. I might play around with that, actually. Anyway, now we're back. Focus. We gotta focus. We are sending. We're putting points into the Chieftain Ascendancy to have it so our modifiers to fire resistance apply to cold and lightning resistance. And that is good, so we can get more resistances. Resistances are ultra mega important in Path of Exile. And now we're done here, and we get to leave. Now here's a part of Path of Exile's crafting systems, because there's like a mess of them that I really like. This is the crafting bench. You can put it in your hideout, and this lets you, if the item is missing a suffix or prefix, you can slap one in there. And this is just a gold mine of plugging up holes in your character's defenses or damage or life. It's just great. And it gives you exactly what you want. No BS. It takes your currency and you get a thing out. Not it takes your currency and you get crap. Yes. This system I like. I was going to record this in the game or take a screenshot in the game, but you can't zoom out far enough to see the whole skill tree in the game. So here is a clip from Path of Building, a fantastic community-driven and built skill calculator build maker DPS wonderful thing. Anyway, here it is, in case nobody's ever played, if you haven't played Path of Exile. Here's the skill tree. This is why, at least for your first character, I highly super duper recommend follow a guide. Unless you're okay with wasting a bunch of your time. Yeah, because it is easy to brick your character, and respecking is node by node, and it's a currency, and they're rare overall. So you might have, let's say 20, maybe, throughout the campaign. Like I said, they are a currency, so they drop, so a monster could drop a respec point for you, but still it is tedious and expensive to fully fix a character that you've screwed up. Yes, follow guide. Find a build that looks cool, that doesn't require any uniques, I would say, for your first character. Like SSF, self-found, would be a great tag to look for a build. League starter is another generally good key to look for when you're browsing YouTube or wherever for a build to play in Path of Exile. That's how I do it, because I don't like dealing with people or trading with people. I am skipping over and ignoring and under-explaining so many random mechanics in and old League themes. Like this one, I went through that weird gray portal, and now I'm in a delirium thing, where you need to run as fast as possible, killing monsters, and then on the lower left there you can see a weird face filling up. That's currency. Filling up. And then, if I fill it up, I got, woo, a currency item. And there are so many old League things that they don't leave all of them in the game, but a good, well, even if it was 25%, the game has been out forever, so there's a ton of League content. For good or bad, or good and bad, I would say, there's a ton of League content that they have left in the game that carries over on a new League. So you have the new League, vestiges of old Leagues stapled onto the game, you know, adding power creep and complexity overload almost to the game. Yeah. Here we are doing lab number 2, getting our next 2 ascendancy points that hopefully will help our character out. Didn't die, nothing to talk about really. Just go through the lab as fast as possible. And here we can see the little last arena here, slowly filling up with pits and traps and more monsters. And each time you kind of do the lab on higher difficulties, this room gets worse. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna engage with the League mechanic and attempt to make something that's equipable. So my character does fire damage, so there's a bunch of these modifiers that are crap, like make fire rarer or whatever. I'm probably aiming for armor, so an explicit modifier is, I think, how many total dealy bobbers affixes it has on it, with a max of 6. And so I'm going through here, linking, so you want them to be like orthogonally connected corpses so that they all chain together into one craft. And if you don't want that to happen, don't connect them. Easy enough. And right, so I go through here, I plant a bunch of corpses, end up with one that was blocking me from doing the craft, so I have to dig it up. I just saw that I buried it right there. And I tried to use this minimum craft thing to get more, like at least minimum 4 sockets, and it just didn't work. So I guess I needed 4? Not 3? Anyway, disappointing. And I ended up just vendoring. After all this messing around, I got crap. Which is frustrating. Very frustrating and disappointing, and makes me not want to, like, engage with the system at all. Because I actually thought I was doing okay and that I should get something at least equipable. It's because my gear is pretty trash. It's not hard to get better than it. And it just didn't do it. It didn't hit like the minimum bar of having resists, like just fire resist and life and 4 sockets. Like it is a pretty freaking low bar, and it missed it. I guess it's almost close. Like it's got life, energy shield, but only 3 sockets, and yeah, it's just offensive, right? Like, I'm gonna have to take this item and mess with it more and waste sockets on it when, something. There's like, it didn't do the job of what a single other currency item could do. And it was like a ton of corpses, like a ton of resources from this league mechanic, and it just fizzled. Here's another league mechanic. This one has you placing explosives in areas to blow up chests, and the explosives also highlight, like, it gives the monsters buffs, and then you get currency, and there's like a bunch of different explosive dudes that do different things, and it's like another whole league jammed into, and not simplified all that much, jammed into the game for another whole crafting, because there's a crafting guy and there's a gambling lady. It's just a bunch of systems layered on top of systems layered on top of systems. And then you randomly find some random bro guy hanging out in some off weird area with a bunch of different random crazy uniques that I've never seen before, and then you randomly pick one because you just don't understand, and then you just move on with your life and toss your weird random thing in your stash, and you're just a little confused, a little more confused than you were before. And now we're approaching another league mechanic that's pretty much there in its entirety, and this is called, I believe, Betrayal. So these are old trainers that have gone crazy, and we need to kill them over and over again, which is part of the lore. Like, they legitimately die as you will kill them, and you'll see that I have an option to execute them, and you execute all but one of them and then bargain with the last one to get a reward, and slowly build up a whole, like, crazy It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia string crazy mad guy board, and eventually you get to run a whole boss thing based on that crazy board and get a bunch of rewards based on who is in what square and what you've done, and a bunch of stuff that I never understood. And this is a league I played a lot. This league, for whatever reason, even though it was incredibly rippy, like, these guys were thugs and would just fly off the screen and hyper murder you. But for whatever reason, it really grabbed me. And it's one of the few leagues I actually did the whole league thing. Like, I got to the boss and I beat it. I beat Katrina, or whatever the hell her name was. Barely, but I did it. Yeah, anyway. Oh, and then you can see more dynamite explosive guys just below here that you could engage with. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff layered on top of stuff in this game. And then you randomly stumble onto some random new league thing, I guess. I don't even know what the hell this is. Got an altar, got some weird roguelike tree doober or something. What the deuce is this? Nope. Maybe with a different character that dealt more damage, that wasn't in a period of decline where I didn't understand how to gear it to make it more damage. Maybe that would be a thing I could engage with, but with this dude, nope. We out. The weary traveler approaches the end of the path. Here we are. Another labyrinth. I think this is the third one. And it gets us 2 more ascension points, so we can jam more abilities onto our character and hopefully get stronger. And I don't get stronger, but I think that's on me because I failed to gear properly. And here we are at the final boss of the campaign. So beating this allows us to... previously we could have gone into maps. We found a few over the course of the campaign, but now we are on to mapping. And this is normally where I get bored and stop playing the league. we'll see if I dive back in now that I've kind of read that SRS enormity gem, which is intriguing, very intriguing to me. So I might make another build. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe if you like what I do. And I hope to see you again real soon.